congregation. And when it comes around, please join in singing our welcoming song. Can't hear it? You are welcome here, wherever you're going to, wherever you're coming from. You are welcome here. You are welcome here, wherever you're going to, wherever you're coming from. You are welcome here, 'cause it's a house of love, a house of hope and dreams. It's a house of love. And you are welcome here, 'cause it's a house of love, a house of hope and dreams. It's a house of love. You are welcome here. Now we sing it again in Spanish. Bienvenido aquí, no quiere que vayas tú, no quiere que vengas hoy. Bienvenido aquí, bienvenido aquí, no quiere que vayas tú, no quiere que vengas hoy. Bienvenido aquí, a este lugar de amor, de sueños e ilusión, a este lugar de amor. Bienvenido aquí, sea este lugar de amor, de sueños e ilusión, este lugar de amor. Bienvenido aquí.
Good morning. Welcome to Chalice Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We are a community of diverse beliefs and experiences, nurturing the liberal religious spirit and united by our desire to grow in love and in service. Whoever you are, whoever you love, whatever your life's journey, you are welcome here. Whether you gather with us every Sunday, once or twice a year, or with us this morning for the first time, we are glad you're here. I'm Jessica Miller, the worship associate today. Our service is led by our minister, Reverend Sharon Wylie. Our worship musician this morning is Tim McKnight, and our song leader is Tom Karlstrom. Our tech team are Jake Diock and Hope Campbell. Our greeter is Ann McKiernan this morning. Welcome to our Sunday worship service. Welcome to those of you here in the chapel and those of you watching live using Zoom. For those of us in the chapel, please feel free to wear masks or step outside as needed for your comfort. You'll be able to hear the service from the courtyard. We are always happy to have newcomers joining us in worship. As a newcomer, you might be interested in the groups and activities that Chalice has to offer. These can be found in our email newsletter and calendar. Online newcomers will receive an email invitation to join our email list after the service. In-person newcomers, if you haven't already given us your email address when you signed in, please consider sharing it with us before you leave. Our weekly email is the best way to get information about the many groups and activities we offer here at Chalice. Now let's take a breath together. Now we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. I'd like to invite Jesse Striplin forward to light our chalice this morning. Our chalice lighting words come from Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains.
The words of our call to worship. We move through the world so often guarded, defended, protective of ourselves, because too often a stranger lashes out, or we witness something ugly, or the news is painful, or there is trouble to be avoided. It is exhausting. We come here yearning for a different way of being together, curious, open, gentle, supportive. We gather together for worship with tender and hurting hearts. May our time together this morning, in person and online, at worship and at coffee hour, be an experience that tends to what is tired and hurting in us. May we be gentle with each other. May we be curious about each other. May we be open and supportive of each other. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. You're invited to rise in body or spirit to join in singing our hymn of the month.
So each month we focus on a particular hymn so that we can learn it better and get to know it and love it. And this month it's Shall We Gather at the River, number 1046 in the Teal hymn. Shall we gather at the river where bright angels' feet have trod, with its crystal tide forever flowing by the throne of God? Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. On the margin of the river, washing up its silver spray, we will walk and worship ever all the happy golden day. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Yes, the pines at the river that flows by the throne of God. Ere we reach the shining river, lay we every burden down, grace our spirit to deliver, and pride a robe and a crown. Yes, we'll gather at the river, shining river. Soon our pilgrims will be cease. Soon our happy hearts will quiver with the melody of peace. Yes, we'll gather at the river, the beautiful river. Gather with the saints at the river that flows by the throne of God. Please be seated.
Our Sunday worship is the shared spiritual practice of our community, and we tend to the congregation during this time by sharing and honoring our joys and sorrows. Here in the chapel, you're welcome to write your joy or sorrow onto a candle card, including your name, and it will be collected from you. Online, please write your joy or sorrow into the chat box. These joys and sorrows will be spoken out loud, and then we will remove this part of the service from the recording that goes onto our YouTube channel, so this sharing won't be publicly available online. If you would like to send Reverend Sharon a confidential note about your joy or sorrow, or to make a prayer request, please email her. Her email address will be on screen in a moment. Please enjoy some music while you write down what you would like to share, so that in the sharing, your burden is lessened and your joy is multiplied.
We'll light a final pillar candle for all the joys and sorrows in the room, in our community, and in the world. These two are held in the love and support of our community. Now I'd like to invite our congregants of any age to come forward for the story. Our story is called Love, written by Matt de la Peña and illustrated by Lauren Long. In the beginning, there is light, and two wide-eyed figures standing near the foot of your bed, and the sound of their voices is love. A cab driver plays love softly on his radio while you bounce and back with the bumps of the city, and everything smells new, and it smells like life. Love, too, is the smell of crashing waves and a train whistling blindly in the distance, and each night the sky above your trailer turns the color of love. In a crowded concrete park, you toddle towards summer sprinklers, while older kids skip rope and run up the slide, and soon you are running among them, and the echo of your laughter is love. On the night the fire alarm blares, you're pulled from sleep and whisked into the street, where a quiet old lady is pointing to the sky. Stars shine long after they've flamed out, she tells you, and the shine they shine with is love. But it's not only stars that flame out, you discover. It's summers, too, and friendships, and people. One day you find your family nervously huddled around the TV, but when you ask what happened, they answer with silence and shift between you and the screen. In your dream that night, you are searching for a love that seems lost. You open and close drawers, lift cushions, empty old toy bins, but there's nothing. You wake with a start in the arms of a loved one who bends to your ear and whispers, "It's okay, it's okay, it's love." And in time you learn to recognize a love overlooked, a love that wakes at dawn and rides to work on the bus, a slice of burned toast that tastes like love. And it's love in each deep crease of your grandfather's face as he lowers himself onto an overturned bucket to fish. And it's love in the rustling leaves of gnarled trees lined behind the flower fields. And it's love in the made-up stories your uncles tell in the backyard between wild horseshoe throws. And the man in rags outside the subway station plays love notes that lift into the sky like tiny beacons of light. And the face staring back in the bathroom mirror. This, too, is love. So when the time comes for you to set off on your own, heavy winds will sweep past your building and great gray clouds will congregate above. Your loved ones will stand there like puddles beneath their umbrellas, holding you tight and kissing you and wishing you luck. But it won't be luck you'll leave with, because you'll have love. You'll have love, love, love. Our story.
Taking the children out to their RE classes. Walk on your path with a song so sweet that everywhere you go there is love all around. Walk on your path with a song so sweet that everywhere you go there is love all around.
It's been my practice in our community to preach a 10-part sermon series during the course of the year, starting in September through June, one sermon a month, on a particular topic, usually centered on a book, which you're invited to read along with, but you don't need to in order to hopefully enjoy the sermon series. And we call this, and the point of this is to go a little more in depth with a topic, and we call this our spirit study topic for the year. Last year, though, that 10-part service series was lay-led, and so congregants worked with material from scholar Tema Okun on white supremacy culture characteristics, and then led a series of services going deeper with some of those characteristics. But this year we returned to our more conventional format of me offering a sermon series. And this year, for the first time, we're going to revisit a topic that we've already done. So this year's topic is Unitarian Universalist Theologies. We talked about this back in 2018-19, which 6 years ago is a chunk of time, but in a lot of ways now feels like a lifetime ago. And that was the year that about midway through the year, we started worshiping in the afternoon at Temple Adat Shalom in Poway because our new hub building was under construction. So a different era of congregational life. And this is the kind of topic that's good to revisit every few years because our ideas change and what's happening in the world is, of course, part of our theological reflection together. We wrestle with theological questions all of the time, and we may even be acting out our theological beliefs without necessarily always being that self-aware about them. If you've ever been in the car, like looking for a parking spot and you're kind of pressed for time, and maybe you say out loud, please, oh please, or waiting for the results of medical tests, or your team is coming up to bat. And those sort of, what is that? The cry to the universe, a prayer to an idea of God, the expression of a hope. So that's the kind of ways that we act out our beliefs without maybe always reflecting on them. If you've ever spoken to a loved one who is deceased, standing at their grave or looking at a photo or just sitting and remembering and realize you have something you want to say to that person who's gone, there's a theological belief behind that speaking, whether we consciously reflect on it or not. And I think most importantly, there can be a gap between what we intellectually think we believe and what we really believe, what our heart believes. I felt this last month at our Ask Me Anything service. Someone asked me, what do you think happens when we die? And that's a question I've answered plenty of times. And I know that the answer I've always given is that I believe in reincarnation and that we have multiple lifetimes to learn what we need to learn. But I realized in a flash, I didn't answer that question that day because I realized I'm not sure that's what I really believe anymore. My mom passed away in 2020, and I find myself thinking of her as an ancestor that I'm still in touch with and who still has wisdom and guidance to offer me. I have an ancestor altar at home with photos of my grandparents and great-grandparents and my mom and my aunt. And I'm not sure how that goes with reincarnation. And I've had some experiences in the past few years of feeling in touch with ancestors. So that's something I want to reflect on more deeply. And actually, as part of this series, we'll be reflecting on with you next month before our Beloved Dead service. At the end of October, we'll have a service asking what happens when we die. So even when we think we know what we believe, that can still evolve or change depending on what's happened to us. So reflecting on these theological questions is always going to be worth our time. And a lot's changed let me lift up one more important thing about that gap between what we think we believe and what our heart believes. I see that coming up for some folks as they approach the end of life. And especially for UUs who were maybe raised in a very fear-based religion, ideas you might intellectually have left behind, there are people as they get close to the end who start to feel fearful because those messages they got as kids suddenly come back. And that worry about, is death a time of judgment and punishment? So we can, think our way out of some beliefs, but the work of really coming to believe differently is ongoing work, not just intellectual work, but the work of spiritual practice. So I just wanted to name that. That can be really painful to realize late in life that you still have that kernel of fear about what comes next. So again, these times of reflection together can be important in trying to help heal and move on from some of those wounds in that teaching. And then in our congregation and in Unitarian Universalism, how we articulate some of what we believe about how and why we come together has changed in the past few years. So in June 2022, in this congregation, the Board of Trustees brought to the congregation a new mission statement about what it is we're doing here together, and the congregation adopted that, voted to adopt that. So these kinds of, both of the things I'm about to talk about are, it's not that we've changed what our mission is. I feel like it's that we've articulated it in a fresh way and put better words to why we're here together. So that mission statement reads, with love at the center, the mission of this church is to inspire, connect, and act. To inspire individual and communal spiritual growth, to connect through worship, music, learning, and caring ministries, and to act in the service of promoting UU principles in ourselves and the wider world. So many of us love lots of different parts about that mission statement, but with love at the center is a part that really touched a lot of us. It was 7 months after that, so we said it first, is what I'm telling you. 7 months after that, the UUA came out, the UUA Article 2 Commission, which was examining what we have, most of us who have come or are in Unitarian Universalism know as our 7 principles and 6 sources. Commission was charged with reflecting on if it was time to change those. So in January of 2023, the first draft of those changes came out. And lo and behold, that vision has 6 values with love at the center. So, and those it took a couple years, but those that evolution of language has been adopted. And we went through 2 votes on it, and this past June was adopted into the UUA bylaws, which is where that language is kept. Those 6 values are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. And then love is at the center. I wondered when I first saw it, actually even through the adoption, was love a 7th value? But that's actually not the language. That's not what the language that goes with it says. So let me read you the part of the language about love. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. So love here is named as a foundation, as a power, as a spiritual discipline. What on earth does that mean? So that's part of what we'll be looking at as we go through these theological questions together. How do these articulations, particularly of love at the center, what does that mean for us in our congregation where we named that for ourselves even earlier than this document? What does that mean for us as Unitarian Universalists to have love at the center? What's particularly unusual about the changes we've made to the UUA bylaws is that they include a graphic. that shows love at the center and those 6 values around, almost like a flower, but it's not that explicit. It's a very clear, it is multicolor. It's not what you have in your hands. You've probably seen it in some other places. It might still be on our bulletin board out there. But what we're going to get is many different artistic representations of that idea of love at the center. And that's what I've handed out this morning. Not everybody has one. I think some of the folks who came in right before service started don't have them. So what you have is a sticker. And again, it's just one artist's representation of love at the center and those 6 values. This particular one also comes in a t-shirt. If you're interested, let me know and I can send you a link to the person who's selling them. This is just a Unitarian Universalist. We may end up with some more of these kinds of things at the UUA bookstore, but not yet. So this is just sort of creative UUs putting things together. Yeah, so if you know that you really don't want that sticker, please drop it back off and we'll get it to someone else. But if you like it, I already saw someone already has it on their phone. Put it somewhere where you can see it. I have it by our front door. Put it on your computer, put it on your refrigerator. So yeah, I think that's sort of the theological question of the year. What does it, of our year, our Spirit Study year, what does it mean to live with love at the center? So there's lots of different theological questions we can wrestle with, but there's sort of a series of questions that get regularly asked of religious systems. So we think, as I've mentioned before, theological questions can be put together into what's called systematic theology. Like all of the questions are meant to form a whole belief system. So you can't have an idea of God that conflicts with your understanding of what happens after you die, right? All of the questions have to go together. So these are some of the things you'll be hearing about this year. What happens when we die? We'll talk about that next month. What is the nature of humankind? That's our November post-election service. Salvation. The study of salvation is called soteriology. What saves us? Why do we gather? Ecclesiology. What brings us together? What is the nature of God? Theology. The nature of spirit. Pneumatology. I hope when you hear spirit, you hear for us spirit of life. What is the pneumatology of Unitarian Universalists? Why is there evil and suffering? Theodicy. What do the end times look like? Eschatology. And what is our mission? Missiology. These might seem like just sort of an intellectual exercise, but I expect that many of you have your own examples of theology that is harmful, that hurts people. I mentioned some of that, the fears that come up towards the end of life. And the alternative, the opposite is true, that good theology saves lives. It is one of my great privileges and honors as a UU minister to sometimes be contacted by people from outside our congregation who are in the process of realizing that they are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and more, and that they've been encouraged, often by a therapist, but perhaps by some other wise person, to have a conversation with a UU minister who can affirm them as being beautiful, as being loved by God, and that their love for other people or their self-expression is also an expression of God's love. And there are people who've never heard that message and who in their own process of self-discovery are wrestling with having to overcome messages that how they think of themselves isn't okay. And to be someone who brings a salvific message, a saving message. You are beautiful just as you are. Your love for other people of any gender, your expression of gender is beautiful in God's eyes, is an expression of God's love for all of us. That is a transforming message. And Yeah, I love that that's something I sometimes get to do. May we begin or continue to reflect on the question of what it means to live with love at the center of our values, love at the center of our gatherings together. May we look for and find ways of bringing more love into the world. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. You're invited to rise in body or spirit to sing together.
We will be singing "The Ours a Religion," number 1058 in the Teal hymnal. We'll sing it through twice. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. Please be seated.
The Sunday offering is an expression of the generosity that makes our congregational life possible. The Buddha said that no true spiritual life is possible without a generous heart. Generosity allies itself with an inner feeling of abundance, the feeling that we have enough to share. We encourage you to text your donation to Chalice. If you haven't texted a donation before, once you text the amount, you'll get a reply with a link to enter your credit card information. If your Sunday donation is meant to be a part of your pledge payment, please be sure to indicate pledge after the dollar amount. The phone number for text donations will be on screen in a moment. If you prefer to make an in-person donation of cash or check, there are envelopes and a donation box to the left of the chapel double doors. You can leave those donations after the service. Please give generously. Please join in dedicating our offering with words of affirmation. At Chalice UU congregation, our mission is to connect through worship, music, learning, and caring ministries.
In the ever-shifting waters of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comfort. I was wrestling waves to find a boulder I could cling to, a stone to hold me fast, where I might let the fretful waters of this river around me pass. And so I found an anchor, a blessed resting place, a rusty rock I called my Savior, for there I would be safe from the river and its dangers, and I proclaimed my rock divine, and I prayed to it, protect me, and the rock replied, God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild, raging rapids and a slow, meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage, a peaceful, sandy shoal. God is a river swimmer, so let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my mind from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on coming, kept on tugging at my legs, until at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and the sense of being led. And this river's like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild, raging rapids and a slow, meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage, a peaceful, sandy shoal. God is a river swimmer, so let go. God is a river swimmer, so let go.
Will you join me in prayer? The words come from Unitarian Universalist Laura Berardi. May we find love in this place, love in our hearts, love for the broken down, love for the lonely, love for those yet to feel whole, love for those in between, love for those out of our reach. May we find love, add love, and be love in the world. Amen. You're invited to rise in body or spirit to join in singing once more.
We are singing A Fire Mist and a Planet, number 343 in the gray hymn. And Tim is going to play it through once for us first. forest and a planet, a crystal and a cell, a starfish and a thorn, and caves where ancients dwell. The sense of law and beauty, a face turned from the sod. Some call it evolution, and others call it God. Gaze on the far horizon, the infant tender sky, the ripe rich tints of cornfields and wild geese sailing high, and over high and lowland the charm of goldenrod. Some people call it autumn and others call it God. Like tides on crescent sea beach, when moon so new and thin, into our hearts our yieldings come welling, surging in. Come from the mystic ocean, whose rim no foot has trod. Some people call it longing, and others call it God. A century lone and frozen, a mother star for her brood, and Socrates' dread hemlock, and Jesus on the rood, and millions though who nameless the straight hard pathways trod. Some call it consecration, and others call it God. Please be seated.
Our closing words come again from Eric Hepburn. We extinguish, sorry, my tablet chose just then to go in a power saving mode. Technology. All right. We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains. Love and blessings to each of you. Blessed be. You're invited to close our time together by singing the well. After our closing hymn, please return to your seats for some announcements.
We drink from the well together, cool water that quenches my thirst, a thirst for justice, thirst for joy, thirst for a love that we're all a part of. We drink from the well. We drink from the well together. Hand in hand we are standing as one, standing for justice, standing for joy, stand for a love that we're all a part of. We drink from the well. Open the doors to the world outside, spirits renewed from within. Look for spark where the new world begins. Yes, we drink from the well together. Heart to heart we are dancing as one, dancing for justice, dancing for joy, dance for a love that we're all a part of. We drink from the well, spirits renewed. We drink from the well, stand hand in hand. We drink from the well, dancing for joy. I feel my heart swell. We drink from the well.
If if you are interested in lighting our Sunday chalice, there is a sign-up sheet outside on the bulletin board. You can sign up for weeks going out into the future, so take a look at your schedule, see what works for you, and please sign up to light our chalice. Victoria?
So recently, you may have noticed a jigsaw puzzle laid out on a table in the courtyard during coffee hour. If you think you might enjoy puzzling, please join us.
And Judy Nguyen has this week's auction announcement in a video.
Hi, this is Judy Nguyen from your Chalice auction team. Today, I'm excited to announce the opening of our auction website, charityauction.bid/ChaliceUU. What you will be able to do starting today is upload your fantastic donations. You can register, but only if you haven't registered in the past. If you've registered for past auctions, you shouldn't need to do it again. But do let the auction team know if your address or email address or phone number has changed so we can update your record. You can also buy tickets to the fabulous Dinner for Two opportunity drawing. And while we don't know what dinners will be offered yet, you don't have to make a decision on which one you want your ticket or tickets to apply to until the night of the live auction, which is October 26th. That's a Saturday night. In the meantime, I will be on the patio at coffee hour with the calendar. So if you're planning an event and you want to make sure it doesn't coincide with a date for another event, please see me on the patio or Wendy if I'm not there, and we'll calendar your event. Also, if you really want to plan a dinner, but you need a little extra help, dinners and theme parties can be a lot of work. We already know of a couple of people that are willing to help. They don't want to do their own dinner, but if you're doing a dinner and you'd like a little extra help, please contact the auction team and we will put you in contact with somebody who wants to help but doesn't want to do the dinner. You can email the auction team at chaliceauction@gmail.com. Thanks, and get to that website and start uploading your donations today. This is Judy.
Our will begin in a few minutes online at the same Zoom link and in person on our courtyard. Those of you here in person might want to bring your refreshments into the green room and visit with some of our online congregants. Reverend Sharon and I look forward to greeting you at the chapel doors to hear how the service was meaningful to you. Go in peace. Peace be with you.